Welcome to our channel Recap Master. Today we are going to show the recap of one of the horror films Barbarian. In this movie, you cannot predict the ending, so don't get distracted. Stay with us till the end of the thrilling explanation and you will be shocked. Your simple like and subscribe are our inspiration. Thank you so much for your valuable support. The movie opens on a stormy nighttime. Tess Marshall arrives at an Airbnb that she booked at 467 Barbary Street. However, as she attempts to test in, she cannot locate the residence key or get in contact with whoever booked her. Before she leaves, she sees a mild activity right inside the residence, and she rings the bell. A guy named Keith Doshko answers, and he says he booked the residence as nicely. Since they cannot attain the bookers, Keith invitations Tess to live at the same time as they are trying to get matters sorted. Tess is not able to book an inn everywhere else, so she decides to stay the night. Before going into the room, she observes the whole house and takes a picture of the ID card of the guy from his wallet so that she can use it as proof if anything happened. She takes a bath and is invited with a bottle of wine. She explains that she is assembling with a filmmaker named Bonnie Zan for a process interview. Keith says he has watched her ultimate movie, notwithstanding Tess wondering if no person else might have visible it. They bond for a chunk earlier than going to bed. During the night time, Tess wakes as much as overhears Keith gasping in his sleep, in all likelihood because of nighttime terrors. She attempts to wake him up, however finally ends up startling each of them. Keith denies something is wrong. The subsequent day, checking the note of Keith, Tess is going for her interview. As she steps outside, she is amazed to hear that every one of the opposite homes surrounding the Airbnb appears deserted and dilapidated. Tess then is going to satisfy Bonnie in the restaurant. Everything is going nicely till Tess mentions where she is staying, and Bonnie warns her to get out of there quickly. When Tess returns to the residence, a person named Andre runs after her and tells her to get out of the residence. Whatever the intention of that guy is, Tess runs toward the door and shuts the door from the inside. She tries to calm herself and pack her clothes to leave the house. But she finally ends up taking place into the basement to look for tissue. The door locks in the back of her, and she or he has left her phone on the kitchen table. She then reveals a rope connected to the wall and reveals a mystery front to a tunnel. Despite a few preliminary hesitance, Tess is going into the tunnel for a bit. She comes throughout a room with a bed, a camera, and a bloody handprint on the wall, in addition to a staircase going similarly down, inflicting her to freak out. She runs again to the basement and sees Keith outside, so she receives him to assist get her out. Tess explains to Keith what she noticed and says they want to get out of there. Keith attempts to reassure her that there may be not anything critical down there, so he is going to test it out. After a while, Tess is going searching for Keith, and she walks down the staircase. She hears Keith screaming and calling for assistance. Tess reveals him right inside the tunnel, and he says something bites him. Before they are able to run, a frightening bear humanoid monstrosity, the mother, seems and smashes Keith's head till he's dead. At the same time, she roars at Tess and catches her. In new scenery, an undisclosed quantity of time later, actor Raj Gilbride is riding whilst he receives news from his colleagues. They inform him he's being dropped from their contemporary undertaking due to the fact a girl is alleging that Raj raped her. He keeps his innocence, however, even his accountant drops him from representation. No one believes in him. Raj later is going out with a friend, all however outright admitting that he did not force the girl into sex. Raj later goes to the house he rents, which also happens to be Barbary House. He arrives and finds Tessa luggage before heading to the basement to investigate. He is found and pursued by the mother before falling into the pit where Tess is also kept. Travel back to the 80s when Barbary Street was teeming with residents. A man named Frank, who lives in the same house, goes to the store to buy baby products. He then finds a young woman and follows her back home. Frank represents himself as a plumber man and enters the house and unlocks the bathroom window secretly. There is no doubt he is going to kidnap that woman that night. When he gets home, his neighbor Doug tells Frank that he and his wife are selling the house because lots of unwanted incidents were taking place and a disaster was coming. When Frank enters the house, shouting was coming from the basement. In a subtle way, it means everything that was going on around here. Frank intentionally kidnaps the girls in his area and tortures them and makes the babes do the same things with the babes when they get older. And the creature whom we have encountered previously is one of the abnormal birth from his own baby's baby. As of, Tess tells her Arj to shut up and calm down. Her mother then lowers her baby bottle into the pit where Tess drinks, but Arj doesn't want much. This makes the mother very angry and she enters the pit and treats Tess like a child, but she growls and screams at Arj. Tess manages to get out of the pit, but Arj stays behind and is locked in a room where the mother forces him to breastfeed. Tess manages to break the window to her basement and is pulled out by Andre before her mother can reach her. Andre tries to get Tess back to safety, but she is adamant about freeing Arj. Tess called the police, but when arrived they did not believe her reasoning. Her messy appearance indicated she was a nervous addict. So the police left her alone without helping her. Tess waits until dark to break into the house and get the keys, because she heard that the mother come out at night. As she gets into the car, the mother appears and tries to break into Tessa's car, but she pulls over to the side of her house and tries to kill the mother, but she momentarily loses consciousness. Meanwhile, Arj heads to the room where he finds Frank, bedridden and dying. Arj sees some tapes of women Frank raped over the years. When Arj calls him about his illness, Frank pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head. Arj picks up his gun and leaves the room. Tess is calling him and Arj pulls the trigger in surprise. He didn't know it was Tess. Tess is shot in her abdomen, but Arj helps her get out of her house. When they go outside, Tess finds that the mother is not where she used to be, unconscious. She tells Arj she knows where to run. Suddenly the guy, Andre, calls them over to his palace and tells her to ensure her safety. He explains to them that Frank owns the house and is most likely the source who booked the victims. He kidnapped and raped women and gave birth to children who he also raped. Her mother is the product of an incestuous rape that has been in the house for over 40 years. Despite the fact that he is sure the mother will never find them, the mother shows up and rips off his arm. Andre was quickly proven wrong when she beats him to death. Tess and Arj run to safety and climb the water tower. Arj drops her gun as the mother begins to catch up with them. Arj thinks he can redeem himself and save them both. So knowing that the mother instinctively goes after her baby, so Arj pushes Tess out of the corner to fall. No matter what, the mother jumps to save her baby Tess. Arj runs downstairs and sees the mother, who is apparently dead. Just as he is about to justify his actions to Tess, the mother jumps up and sticks at Arj's eye with her thumb, hitting his head in half. Then again she crawls to nurse Tess, who is in shock. She pulls the gun beside her and gives a faint look of regret on her face before pulling the trigger. Tess then gets up and leaves the area to seek medical attention. The screen shows the moment of sunrise as the dark night is over. Thanks for watching. For more videos, kindly subscribe. Your subscription is our motivation. Hope to catch up in next recap. Thank you.